The Earth's surface is always changing. Even though some of these changes happen slowly over millions of years, they create the landscapes we see today, like mountains, valleys, and deserts. These changes are caused by natural forces like wind, water, and ice. These forces wear down rocks and soil and move them to new places, shaping the land into different forms over time. In this lesson, we are going to explore how wind, water, and ice change the Earth's surface and result in the formation of landforms such as deltas, canyons, and sand dunes. By understanding these processes, we can see the patterns that create and reshape the Earth's surface. Let's start with water. Water is one of the most powerful forces on Earth when it comes to shaping land. Rain, rivers, and oceans all play a role in changing the land. One way that water changes the Earth is through erosion. Erosion happens when moving water wears away soil and rocks, carrying them to new places. Over time, this movement of water can carve out deep valleys or canyons. One of the most famous examples of this is the Grand Canyon, which was formed by the Colorado River. Over millions of years, the river wore away the rocks and carved a deep canyon that stretches for miles. This shows the cause and effect relationship between water and land. The water causes the land to erode, and the effect is the formation of a canyon. Water doesn't just create canyons, though. It also helps create deltas. A delta forms where a river meets a larger body of water, like a lake or ocean. As the river slows down, it can't carry as much sediment, so it drops the sediment at the mouth of the river. Over time, this builds up and creates a fan-shaped landform called a delta. The Mississippi River Delta is a great example. The water in the river carries bits of dirt and rock, and when it reaches the ocean, it slows down and deposits that material, forming a delta. This process of erosion and deposition shows a pattern. Water carries material away from one place and deposits it in another, shaping the land as it moves. Now let's talk about wind. Wind is another force that shapes the Earth's surface, especially in dry areas like deserts. Wind picks up loose sand and soil and moves it to new locations. Over time, the wind can build up large hills of sand called sand dunes. Sand dunes are constantly changing shape because the wind continues to move sand from one place to another. This process of wind moving sand and building up dunes is an example of a pattern that happens over and over. The Sahara Desert is full of sand dunes that have been formed and reshaped by the wind for thousands of years. Finally, let's look at the role of ice in shaping the Earth's surface. In colder regions, glaciers, large, slow-moving masses of ice, can carve out valleys and reshape mountains. Glaciers move very slowly, but they are powerful enough to carry rocks and soil with them as they move. As the glacier moves across the land, it erodes the ground beneath it, creating U-shaped valleys. When the glacier melts, it leaves behind these valleys and other landforms like moraines, which are piles of rocks and dirt that were pushed along by the glacier. The movement of glaciers and the landforms they leave behind are another example of how natural forces change the Earth's surface over time. All of these processes, water, wind, and ice, follow recognizable patterns that help shape the landforms we see today. Water creates canyons and deltas through erosion and deposition. Wind moves sand to create dunes, and ice carves out valleys as glaciers move across the land. Each of these processes happens over long periods of time, but the results are the landforms that make up the Earth's surface. It's important to remember that these processes are happening all the time, even if we don't always notice them. Every time it rains, water is slowly shaping the land. Every time the wind blows, it's moving tiny grains of sand or soil. And in colder areas, glaciers are still moving, very slowly, but still shaping the land. Understanding these processes helps us see the cause and effect relationship between the forces of nature and the changes to Earth's surface. In summary, the Earth's surface is constantly being shaped by natural forces like wind, water, and ice. These forces cause changes through erosion, deposition, and movement, resulting in the formation of landforms like canyons, deltas, and sand dunes. By recognizing the patterns in these processes, we can better understand how the Earth changes over time and how the landscapes we see today were formed.